Good morning, class. So today's lesson is on 6.2, solving quadratic equations by factoring. This is very much a lesson that is similar to 4.5, our first day of lessons, first day of the unit. Okay, so it's kind of a branch off of that, where we talked about the zeros, okay, or the x-intercepts, okay, of a quadratic relation, where the equation is y equals ax minus r, x minus s, where x equals r and x equals s are the x-intercepts. So to solve a quadratic equation in the same as solving for the zeros, since we set y equals 0 to solve for the zeros. So a quadratic relation has an equation of a equals x minus r, x minus s equals zeros to find the solution. Okay, so just again, important note here that they might be called zeros, they may be called x-intercepts, might be called solutions, might be called roots. When you get going through these questions, they all mean the same thing. Okay, so in these following examples, what they're asking you to do is to solve, okay, which means you might have to factor to find x-intercepts in certain cases. Okay, so in example 1, you'll notice that they've given us it already in factored form. So we know that x minus 4 is set to 0. Therefore, our answer is x equals 4. Okay. And our second answer is x plus 1 equals 0. Therefore, we get a final answer of x equals negative 1. Okay. Try the next one by yourself. So if you've done it quickly, x plus 8 is equal to 0. Therefore, we get x equals negative 8. Now, I've kind of talked about this before, where if you're dealing with two values, it can change the process, and that's why we set it to 0. So for example, I really note this one right here, okay, that we're going to do. So 3x minus 1 equals 0. Again, we're solving for x, okay? That's what we're solving for. That's our unknown. So we move negative 1 to the other side. It becomes positive 1. And then we divide out the 3. Okay? So we end up getting x equals 1/3 here. So that's our final answer. I'm just going to highlight it. Okay? So x equals 1/3 is our final answer here. Okay? Now, they're not always going to be given to you in factored form. So sometimes you're going to have to factor them yourself, for example. Okay? So step 1 might be to factor. Okay? So if we were to factor the following equation, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 24, add to 11, so we would get x plus 3, x plus 8, okay? And then we would know that x would equal negative 3 and x would equal negative 8 as your x-intercepts in this. Okay? And some of you will choose to do the shortened form, and that's fine. So the next question, D, is if we look at it, is it is a difference of squares. Okay. First you look, can you common factor? No, but we both know these are difference of square questions. So we would get 5x minus 4, 5x plus 4. Okay. So when we solve them, okay, in this situation, we would get x equals 4 over 5 as our final answer, and we would get x equals negative 4 over 5. Okay. Notice how I'm keeping everything in fraction form as well as we go through this. Okay. So again, this is just really much an extension of the first lesson of the unit. So what they're asking you to do here is write an equation in factored form and standard form. Okay, so it's really important to remember the two equations where you have y equals a, x minus s, x minus t, okay, or y equals a, x minus h squared plus k to help kind of solve. Okay, so you're going to use those. Okay, but in this situation, you'll see that they've given us the solutions, okay, which also means the x-intercepts. So therefore, we're going to choose to solve by using y equals a, x minus s, x minus t. Okay, so when we plug this in, we would go y equals a, okay, x, okay, x minus 4, x plus 2. When we put them back into the brackets, just remember that. It's important. It's important to note that. Okay? Okay. I'm also going to add something to this question. A lot of times you'll be given a point. We're going to say that A is set for 1 in this situation. So you're going to let A equal 1, okay? If that helps you, okay? So when we're going about this, you can replace A with 1. Sometimes you'll be asked to actually solve for A, as we have done before. So what you're going to do now to convert it to standard form, all you're going to do is you're going to FOIL, okay? So again, to convert it now, because this would be factored form, you're just going to FOIL, okay? So we get y equals, and because it's 1, you can leave the 1 on the outside if it helps you, but you don't really have to use it. We get x squared plus 2x minus 4x minus 8. You would multiply it by the 1 and collect like terms, so we'd be left with x squared, okay, minus 2x minus 8, okay, as our other example. So some people get confused in the next question by the fraction. Okay, don't lose yourself in the fraction. You just would work opposite to it. So for example, that before you put into brackets, it's x equals 2 over 5. Well, to get rid of the 5, we would multiply both sides. Okay, so that would cross out. And then we would move the 2 over, so you get 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, so that's what would go back into the bracket. So we end up getting y equals bracket 5x minus 2. I'm just going to erase that here. then this issue is just saying x equals 0. Okay? So the way to go about it is just to put it as x. So what we've done is we've created the factored form equation, okay? And now what we can do, okay? And again, this is because a equals 1. So if you want, you can put a equals 1, but it's not going to make a difference, okay? Now we can FOIL it, and we get y equals 5x squared minus 2x, okay, as our quadratic equation. So what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to try page 67, numbers 1 to 8, 10 to 12, and try 15. Okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Again, this is very much an extension of the first lesson, and even the foiling is you guys are all very good at that. Okay, have a great day.